Go.
Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Toast Podcast. And of course, we toast the best from Texas. And we've got Slade Coulter joining us finally on the podcast today. Hello, Slade. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
So you are busy, busy. Even as we speak, you're on the road and you have a new album out. We're going to talk in depthly about the album, but let's kind of go back and talk about your roots and where you grew up. I find it very interesting. Small town between Lubbock and Abilene. Do you say it, Jayton, Texas?
Drayton, Texas, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so your
Yeah.
mom was a writing teacher there.
Yes, yeah. My mom was a English teacher and the journalism coach at the school, and that was definitely a huge part of kind of my start as far as writing goes. Yeah.
Right. Those are always my favorite teachers. I mean, language arts, and I was really good like with the journalism, obviously, and the writing and language arts. Now, when it came to science, math, biology, not so much. So I always loved my like language arts teachers. And so even when you were young and your mom was a teacher, you did like state UIL writing.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. She was. I grew up with. I have six sisters and a brother, so it was a big family, and my older sisters grew up doing that as well, and they were super successful in the UIL journalism stuff, and so I kind of just wanted to follow in their footsteps. And
I
mom
just I
always pushed
just
for it too, being the teacher. So
Yeah, I love that. What a great family, what a great story. And then at what point did you, of course, obviously those writing skills have taken you now through life and you have just like catapulted them into your songwriting. But when did the music start? When did you get your first guitar and start singing and writing?
yeah, man, I my dad had a guitar around the house my whole life. And knew a handful of songs that he would play for us growing up. But I never I tried to pick it up here and there growing up, but it wasn't until I was 16 that I picked it up and it stuck. And he showed me a few chords on his guitar, and they got me my first guitar for Christmas that year. And originally, I started playing guitar. Again, my older sisters were great singers as well, and so I started out just playing guitar in the background while they sang, and then I joined in singing them, and then I was like, I'm gonna take a shot at writing some songs,
Oh, love
and
that.
it kind of just snowballed from there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I actually had my high school principal was actually super supportive of it and made me perform in a school assembly. It was my first performance in front of anybody. And so there's a lot of people that were super supportive to help me to kind of get into it.
Such a great story. I know your family and your whole community and everybody around you is proud of you. And you have a new album coming out in well, just a little bit, December.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
had the date written, yeah, December 13th, and it's something to say. And I got to listen to the full album and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the different kind of mixtures of the styles and the songs that you have on them. Some of them are so reflective. And so tell me about the coming together of this album, the making of it, and how long you've been working on it.
Yeah, so I appreciate the compliments on it. It's a very diverse record, I feel like.
Good
We kind
word,
of went
diverse. Yes.
a
Hmm.
lot of different directions with it. And some songs are songs I've been working on for 3 or 4 years, and some were songs that I sat down and wrote the week before we recorded. And it's kind of a compilation of stuff we've been working on for a long time. And this is by far my favorite project we've done so far. It was very, very homegrown. We didn't go and rent out a professional studio for this one. And um, before we were traveling outside of Lubbock, going to different studios and kind of dipping our toes in the water, different places, seeing what felt right. And this time we cleared out our guitar player's house and brought a producer up from Austin and just turned his house into a studio and cut it at home. So it was a much more cohesive. We recorded a lot of it live, which changed the dynamic of it a lot. But it definitely, I think, expresses our sound the best of
Mhm.
any project so far. But yeah, it was a
Ditto.
lot of
Yes.
fun to make.
Yes, for sure. So, of course, all of them caught my attention. Of course, you've already pre-released Love Junkie, ouch, Love Junkie, and Six
Yeah.
Shooter. Let's talk about Love Junkie a little bit while we're just jumping into the album singles that are
Yeah,
on there.
yeah. So that's one I wrote with my good friend Mr. Jordan Nix, who's another Texas songwriter who's incredible. And that was one we threw together in about an hour. Um, that's one of the good cases of fast songwriting. Most of the time, they don't turn out that good when you write them that quick. But that one, I was pretty proud of. And originally, it was written backwards. It was about getting your heart broken, and
Mhm.
I I just kind of felt like that's been overdone. At least in my case, especially, I've got so many stinking heartbreak songs, and I'm kind of tired of the heartbreak songs. And so I was like, what if we change these words around, flipped it, where I'm the one doing it now. And we tried it out and it stuck. I really liked the way it sounded. And then we took it into the studio, and with the production and everything, it turned into a really, really cool song, I think.
Yes, for sure. Totally agree with that. It's like stomp on that heart. One that I think is really a standout. I mean, it's hard to say because there's so many good ones on there, but Better Days.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. That's one. There were several co-writes on this album. That one I wrote with my buddy Travis Roberts from Amarillo. Um, and I had the chorus written out, and that starting guitar lick and stuff, and that's one that had kind of just been lingering around for a couple of years, and I never really put anything together all the way, and wasn't really sure what direction I wanted to go with it. And then I sat down with Travis, who is incredible, and uh, we sat there and workshopped that song for a few hours, and I really really enjoyed that song. I was very very proud of it once we got it into
Mhm.
the studio, and had my good friend Shelby Stone. She came in and
Oh,
sang.
yes.
She came
Yes.
in and
Oh,
sang background
Shelby.
harmonies on it, and she's
Hmm.
a phenomenal singer. And I really think she just made those voices pop with her
Yes.
part. And so I'm very very proud of that one.
Yeah, you should be very proud of that one. And she's just so outstanding. She's just I've had her on the podcast and just immediately bonded with her. I mean, she's just one of those kind of people.
Yeah,
And so
Shelby's great, fantastic.
yes, and yeah, and so as we're recording this podcast, and it'll be coming out soon to drop one more ahead of the whole album release. Dying to Know, another good one that gets you thinking.
Yeah, um, that was my kind of sleeper pick off the record. I think it's going to be the sneaky one that performs the best that you don't really expect. But it's my first love song, actually. I've never really written a real love song, and I got married earlier this year, and I was like, man, that's not a great look being married and I've never written a love song before. I figured it was time, so that's my best crack at it. But again, that's another one. It just the production on it and the way it came together. It's very unique from the rest of the songs, and it's one I'm excited for people to hear.
Yes, good job on that one. Let's talk about The Way It Goes now.
The way it goes, yeah, that's another song that had just been lingering around for a while. It was just a catchy little guitar lick I would kind of play to get my fingers warmed up before a show or something, and it just kind of gets stuck in your head. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I really got to write something with this, and struggled and struggled and struggled to make something stick. And I finally broke down and was like, I'm just gonna make it a song about not being able to write a song because I can't think of anything else. So that's where that song started out. And our producer on the record, David Beck, uh, is a guy out of Austin, an incredible producer, incredible musician. Um, he had a lot of ideas for that one in the studio, and I think it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, good. So there's 9 total cuts on there. What are you most proud of when it comes to this particular album project?
Oh man, that's tough. Um, Man, I think a couple things. Um, we've always done this, but recording with our bands, we don't hire other session musicians to come in. because we want it to be a very original product. We want it to sound like it's going to sound on stage. Um, and doing it at home, or rather in our guitar player Thomas's house, um, it is just a totally different recording experience. And like I said, I think it just helped us kind of define what our sound is, rather than going into a studio and taking all these different recommendations. It was kind of like we took it and ran with this time. I'm very proud of that, and I've had a lot of fun making the artwork for the record.
Have you ever wondered how artists like Treaty Oak Revival, Red Clay Strays, and Aaron Watson maintain the high quality and high demand for their merchandise? CH Lone Star Promo is the answer. Created in Texas to serve Texas artists, and they're currently offering 15% off on all merch orders from musicians. Visit chlonestarpromo.com to get started and tell them Texas Toast sent you.
I was reading the other day that it takes at least $1 million to break an artist. That's a ton of change, and it can feel overwhelming. But with social media leveling the playing field, you just need an effective strategy to release your music. Check out Release Rocket to ensure your single does not die after release day. You've already put time, effort, and tons of money into writing and recording your album. Let the guys at Release Rocket keep your new release alive.
So,
I was going to ask you about the artwork. So, yes, let's talk about it. That was on my list.
yeah, yeah. In the past, I've hired out several different artists that I really admire to do the artwork for this. And when I was growing up in high school and college and stuff, I was always, well, in college mostly, but not paying attention in class and just drawing pictures in the back of class and stuff. And I used to really enjoy painting, and so I figured I'd, rather than spending money to have somebody else do it, I was like, I'm gonna try my hand at it. So I just basically listened through the songs and jotted down ideas of the best way I could capture those songs visually. And yeah, I did my best with it. Just used some watercolor paint and
Oh,
scanned the
cool.
paintings, and that's the cover art for them now.
Wow, you're just so talented. You just do it all, don't you?
I try to.
Well, that makes it nice being having that artistic side because that really helps with the single art and on your albums and your single releases as well. You can do
Yeah,
some more of that in the future.
definitely, definitely. I wasn't. This was kind of a testing phase. I feel like, just because it's been so long since I've actually done art. Because I've been so focused on music and family life and everything else.
True.
It's one of those things that just kind of got discarded. And but now that I'm kind of starting it again, I realize why I liked it so much. It's been a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Mm-hmm. Way to go. Congratulations on that. Let's kind of go back through some of your other music. I just have to talk about, and I know you're probably gonna be like, really, really, but Walk Back Home. I know that was your first single
Yeah,
that was ever released. And I know I just love the story behind it, but I want you to tell me the story because I think we've all had nights like that.
yeah, that was a long one for me. It was.
Certainly.
I don't remember if it was a friend's birthday or something, or just a normal night. I was a freshman or sophomore in college, I believe, and we were out partying one night at a bar there in Lubbock, and
Mm-hmm.
I had started a little earlier in the day than everybody else, so it was time for me to go home. And nobody else wanted to leave because we had just got there, and uh, so I couldn't find a ride, and I was a broke college kid at this point, had no
Oh,
money, you know, didn't have a ride, couldn't call an Uber, so I just took off walking and walked all the way across Lubbock back to the house I was living at the time, and it was a long walk, very long walk. And so I had a lot of time to think, and I woke up the next morning and had the idea for the song "Walk Back Home" and kind of morphed it around into a heartbreak song because that was kind of the easiest route to go about it, I think. But yeah, that's definitely one of the best story songs I've got, I think.
I love it. Thanks for sharing. And so you did spend some time at Texas Tech, and I know there is where I guess I mean I know this, you really started developing your music, but I think the thing that I see with you from the outside looking in, and not having you on the podcast yet, Slade, is that you really network and interact with a lot of the other artists. Like y'all, you kind of come together. I know there's been some people put in, in front of you, how paths cross, but let's talk about some of the people in the business that have been instrumental in you and y'all sharing and networking, and how you have built such a successful career.
Right. Well, originally we started out with Honcho Music Group, which was me and Dalton Domino and Jacob Stelly and Kat Hasty.
Mhm.
And at that time, it wasn't so much a management group as a music collective. We would get together and shoot content and write songs and do things like that. And it kind of, morphed and took its form. And, we all came and went, and we're all still great friends. But those guys were super instrumental into, you know, diving more into that friendship side of the music business and getting to become real friends with these other musicians.
Right.
And from there, it grew to meeting like Jordan Nix and Parker Ryan, who are some of my best friends. And um, yeah, it was really, really great. And that's the cool thing about the music business, I feel like, is it's just got more and more fun the deeper you get into it, the more people you meet, because
Mhm.
now it's like every weekend you're playing with somebody that you're friends with, you know what I mean? Whether you're the opening
Right.
act for them or they're the opening act for you, it's you've played several shows with them at this point, and it's just like seeing an old friend every weekend. So it's a super cool spot to be in.
Yeah, that's nice. Let's talk about your live shows and your tour schedule.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we've got for the rest of this year, we've got a pretty exciting few weeks lined up. This weekend we are in College Station, uh, Huntsville, and Antones in Austin. And Antones is definitely a bucket list venue for me, just with all the legends and stuff that have played that show. It's always been one I've wanted to do, and we finally get to do that this weekend. Um,
Wonderful. Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Next week we've got we're doing like a songwriter retreat up in Turkey at Hotel Turkey.
Hmm.
It's going to be me and Jordan Nix, Parker Ryan, Shelby Stone, Travis Roberts, uh, Hank Weaver, Cameron Albright. It's kind of our whole friend group,
Yes, yes.
and it's that's one I'm really excited for. We're doing a songwriter retreat up there, and then doing a couple acoustic shows on Friday and Saturday to play all the new songs we write. So I think that one will be a lot of fun. And then we've got a Colorado run to end out the year. So
Cool. Well, that'll keep you busy till the end of the year. So what are we looking forward to next year? Of course. Oh, by the way, are you going to have like any kind of album release party, or are you just going to skip that, or anything special for the album?
um, we're still on the fence about it. There's a couple options we're kind of weighing, but uh, we've got we've had the Colorado run and those shows set on the schedule for a while.
Mhm.
Um, we may just try to get one of those as an album release party, uh, or maybe when we get back to Lubbock early in the year, we'll try to do something like an album re-release party or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. So plans, I mean, we're going into Christmas pretty soon. So maybe some goals and plans and things that, you're looking forward to in 2025.
Yeah, in 2025, I mean, really, I I really just want to stay on the track we're on. We've been
Mhm.
doing a slow grow. Our audience has just been growing and growing steadily, which I think is exactly what I wanted. I don't want to be a flash in the pan and burn out artist. You know what I mean? I want to really build that fan base and keep touring hard. I love being on the road. I love meeting new people. Um, we've uh, we've gotten to play a lot of our bucket list venues recently. Uh, I think the goal is to scratch some more of those off in 2025 and keep hitting the road hard and stay on the steady growth.
That's very wise. I like this. Yeah, steady, steady. And that's what you're doing. I mean, it's like you have such a huge following. You put out such great music. You're consistent. And congratulations on the new album. It comes out December 13th. Something to say. Thank you so much, Slade Coulter, for coming on the Texas Toast podcast.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on.